is under attack. Yes, the talking cartoon dog Bluey. The wholesome Australian Bluey. The childhood healer Bluey. She's out here fighting demons. The demons known as Twitter. And probably like other places on the internet, but I mainly see Twitter. So what sparked this whole Bluey controversy? What's really going on? Well, throughout the week there's been discourse coming from two sides. Fans of the show who are mixed about the new 28-minute special, The Sign, and miserable people on Twitter who hate the fact that adults can enjoy a preschool show. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Bluey. I've seen clips here and there, but I still have pretty strong opinions about this discourse. I watched the episode, I went to see what all the hubbub was about, and while I enjoyed it, the fact that people are getting angry over this is boggling my mind. So let's start with the episode itself. The Sign is all about Bluey's dad, Bandit, selling the house because he got a new job in a new city that can pay a lot better, which would allow him to provide his family with a better life. The thing is, no one else in the family is vibing with this decision. I mean, Bingo doesn't really care for most of the episode because she doesn't really realize what moving means until the end. But Chili and Bluey? They're not that happy. While Chili is supportive of her husband's decision, feeling like the best thing they can do is just go for it and embrace change, Bluey is desperate to find any way out of moving, suspecting that if they can remove the for sale sign, then they can stay in their current home in their current city with all their friends and family. You know, little kid logic. And while this is happening, you have Bluey's godmother, Frisky, kinda being in a similar situation as she's getting married. The wedding being in Bluey's backyard. But when she finds out that her fiancé is planning to move them out west after the wedding, she calls off the wedding and gets out of Dodge, feeling as if this is getting forced onto her. And the fact that she didn't have a proper conversation about it with her fiancé really bothers her. She doesn't want to move out west, so Bluey and her squad embark on an afternoon adventure to find Frisky, bring her back, and in Bluey's mind, remove the sign so the house will no longer be for sale. Long story short, the wedding's back on, Frisky and our boo aren't moving, and as it turns out, neither is Bluey, as not only do the dogs who are interested in buying the house settle on another one that suits their needs as it has a pool, rich motherfuckers, Jesus. The bandit also realizes that the best thing for his family might just be staying here, and you get this beautiful sequence with no audible dialogue of the kids running through the house, celebrating every room, every amenity, every square foot, allowing the episode to end on a happy note. And again, a lot of fans were not happy with this decision. People felt like it was a cheap cop-out, and that it doesn't send the greatest message to kids, as moving to a new city and leaving your friends and family behind is something that a lot of kids are gonna have to deal with at some point in life. Hell, I had to deal with that after I finished elementary school going into middle school. I moved to a new city, I was in a new district, I didn't know anyone, and I hated it. So a show that's championed for being rather daring compared to other preschool shows having a cop-out ending like this might set the wrong expectation towards kids. That they'll have the impression that they can get out of moving, and that it would have been a lot more meaningful if they did just bite the bullet and actually commit to moving, changing the status quo and everything. And that if they actually did move, this episode would have been helpful for kids who are preparing for a similar situation or are in the midst of a move and have to adapt to their new surroundings. And while I completely get that, one, we have a moment in the episode where Bluey questions why there's always happy endings, and it felt like the show itself was acknowledging how this was going to end, saying that, oh, real life gives us sad endings far too often, and they would rather have viewers end on a feel-good note where everything works out. And two, I think this perspective misses out on some of the nuance provided in the episode. To me, it felt like Bandit saw a pay raise and prioritized a higher source of income over a healthy environment for his family. And don't get me wrong, obviously more money makes things a lot easier in life, especially when you're taking care of a family. I get where Bandit is coming from. But obviously the show about family is gonna champion staying near your family. It's not all about the money. I could see if they're financially struggling and piss broke, but that does not seem to be the case. Like, when I moved, it wasn't necessarily because my mom got a new job. In fact, where she was working in the city was probably closer to our old house. But she did move because she wanted us to be in a safer area, and she wanted me to be in a good school district. Not to mention the school I was going to shut down, so our options were pretty limited. But with Bluey, they only mention the money. That's like the only argument Bandit has for this move. I'm not gonna act like I have the greatest handle on this show's moral compass, but this ending truly does track for me. I get if you weren't crazy about it, but it does seem to be very on brand for the show. And I think that's also why they paralleled Bluey's story with Frisky, because although Frisky's an adult and it's different from your new husband wanting to move you across the country, but in both cases, both characters felt like they were forced into a situation they did not want to be in, and that they didn't want to feel like they were being told how to feel. But then I also gotta be real, if you thought they were really gonna move, then your expectations for the show might be a little ambitious. Yeah, they were gonna design a new house and new characters. You know how expensive that is? Cartoons have these staple locations for a reason. They have a recurring cast of characters for a reason. It's so they don't have to design a bunch of new locations and characters every episode. Them actually moving means they pretty much would have had to make a new show. And good luck with that. Pretty sure the show is made by a small Australian studio too. Committing to a move would have just been way too ambitious. I believe there were rumors floating around last year that Bluey was coming to an end, and this definitely feels like a pseudo-series finale kind of episode. Like, we'll make this one, we'll put it out. If there's more after it, great. If there's not, this is a good ending. And it kind of reminds me of the series finale of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, which had a similar vibe. The entire episode they thought Mac was moving and he was gonna leave Foster's forever and ever, only for it to turn out at the very end that no, he's not moving to a different city or anything. He's just moving to a different unit in his apartment complex. They're the kind of episodes that feel like a finale in the sense that there is this sense of finality, but just in case you get picked up for more, we'll leave it open-ended and on a happy note, so that if there's another season, it'll be business as usual. That 100% feels like the case here. So honestly, I think it's a fine episode. It's pretty harmless. And I have faith that the youth will have a decent enough media literacy skills to recognize that this cartoon doesn't reflect real life. I mean, again, the show itself basically says that with life already has enough sad endings. It's fine, it's harmless. But then there's the other side of the discourse, which pretty much just boils down to, oh, why are you watching a preschool show, bro? Aren't you people in like your 20s or 30s? Which is ironic because the tweet that sparked this discourse was posted by a father who watches the show with his kids! Internet personality and British actor John Cartwright tweeted, "It's absolutely crazy to have this air with all the other toddler shows. It's on such a different level." And then yeah, miserable niggas came out of the woodwork, saying entertainment is cooked, we're calling a preschool show deep, even though he didn't call it deep. I'm on 4-year-old Twitter right now, yada yada yada. It feels like over the past few years, people have gotten angry that a lot of animated shows are popular, namely kid shows. Whether that's shows that's clearly appealing to a more teen audience like The Owl House, or shows that are meant for toddlers like Bluey. Of course, Bluey really blew up over the last 2 years, having such a dedicated fan base.
Fucking watching that? I look like okay. The fucking remote.
The fucking Odd Ones Out made a video about it, and from what I've seen, the show has 4 different types of fans. 1, the target demographic, aka toddlers. 2, parents who are watching with their kids. 3, people who want to have kids. And 4, people with a bad childhood who thinks Bluey is healing. They're getting something out of it that they weren't given in their childhood. And I feel like that last one is something people are really gonna harp on. But honestly, who gives a fuck? It just feels kind of hypocritical to me because I feel like the same people who are dunking on Bluey fans would probably turn up if like classic Arthur was thrown on Netflix because that's their childhood, and Arthur is a show that's pretty entertaining and witty for people of all ages. The clapbacks on that show are insane!
Maybe there's a contest for lonely children after this. It's only children, DW. A lonely child is what you're gonna be when I sell you.
Likewise, from watching this episode of Bluey, I found that the show was pretty funny and had a similar level of charm. So if it's a 20 to 30 somethings comfort show, I don't really care. Watch what you want to watch. Celebrate it if you want on Twitter. And if you're really gonna act like you have a stick shut up your ass because people are enjoying an Australian preschool show, then you need a hobby. Because you just sound miserable. Especially if you're assuming everyone who's tweeting about this show is a childless millennial who only consumes animation. Like most people trying to clown on Cartwright's tweet, even though again, the nigga has 2 kids! And a lot of people will say that Bluey is a show that's more for the parents than the children. From watching it, I think they're just trying to offer something for everyone. The kids watching, the parents watching alongside them, the older siblings or babysitters. And just because the show is getting praise doesn't mean that people are regarding it as prestige television. They're not saying that Bluey is rubbing shoulders with Breaking Bad or Succession. They're saying that it's a great show, especially when it's compared to the likes of Cocomelon or whatever other bullshit they're peddling out. The quality of preschool shows has declined greatly, so I think a parent has every right to celebrate the storytelling of Bluey. They're allowed to be happy that their kids have access to good television, that the writing of the toddler show doesn't settle for less just because it's aimed at a pre-K audience. You know, like Arthur, like Cyber Chase, like most of the PBS kids shows that adults who grew up with it would probably gas, even though they turn around and roast people for liking Bluey, because when it's not nostalgic, it's suddenly weird. Even though from watching it, I definitely would argue that Bluey has a nostalgic vibe. Am I gonna go out of my way to watch more of the show? Probably not. Am I gonna judge people for watching it? No! And since I'm just rambling at this point, something else I saw was, do kids even care about this stuff? Basically saying kids won't care about the quality because they're kids. And man, you might have been a dumb kid, but I wasn't. I appreciated my big half-hour episodes even as a kid. I went from Arthur to Dragon Ball Z, to SpongeBob, to Dora, to motherfucking South Park. And as like a 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old, I appreciated all of them. Did I understand all of them? Especially the adult animated series I watched? No, but I still admired what they were all going for. People just want any excuse to dunk on people for enjoying cartoons, and honestly, it's just lame. You look lamer than the people you're trying to dunk on. I'm sorry your parents didn't watch TV with you when you were growing up, but stop taking it out on random people on the internet. You look goofy.
Oh, tweeting about cartoons? You're scaring the hoes.
The hoes watch cartoons, dummy! If you don't know how to pull a neurodivergent baddie who loves animation, then that's on you. Skill issue. They're everywhere. Can you tell I'm just kind of scrolling through the quote tweets and responding to random tweets? Yeah, this video should probably be over. So my Bluey heads, did you watch the new episode? What did you think? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please throw a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. See ya!